Welcome to Vegan Finds, where we're going to turn this into a show-stopping dish. To this vegetable sky-high pie. This is our first showstopper. There'll be more for Thanksgiving in the coming days. Okay, so we're going to be making a show-stopping vegetable pie. Vegetable. I was going to say vegan, but obviously our show is called Vegan Finds, so what else would it be? And as part of our pie, we're going to be using Swiss Chard. We got Celeriac, if you're not familiar with that. It's also called celery root. We got some yellow beets. We got purple daikon radish. We got some black radish. And we also have some, I almost forgot, sweet potato. So this is going to be a layered dish. It's going to go into a pie crust. We're going to be building it in this, a Springform pan. And we're going to be using Bob's Red Mill pie crust to make our crust for this pie. Since it's Thanksgiving, we don't want to, have to build everything from scratch. And this is a fairly time-consuming, multi-step process. Now, you can do all the vegetables ahead of time. That's fine. But if you're not, that's also fine. You can do this. It's probably a 2-hour process total. In cooking time, there's a lot of waiting for stuff to be cooked. So stick around. I'll show you how quick and easy this is to make. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is peel your celeriac, celery root, depending on where you live. Will dictate what the name of the item is. In any event, as you start peeling this off, and I'm going to tell you, a vegetable peeler is really not a good choice for this. Just be careful when you're using a knife. Probably a paring knife would be better than what I'm using. But you really get a good sense of the smell of the celery root. I mean, it's coming through really, really nice here. And of course, it's a great crunchy addition to salads. You could eat this raw, and it is quite delicious. And you'll see there's weird craggly things. Don't worry too much about that. As you do the cutting process, it's going to come apart. So I'm going to clear this up. I'm going to show you how to basically trim this up right now. Just back in a blink. I've cut our celeriac in half. Now I'm going to cut it again into quarters. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to slice them like so. You want, I guess that's about an 1/8 of an inch thick slices, and just basically slice this up. You don't want it too thin, because then parts will basically overcook and they'll probably stick to the pan. So you just want to kind of get it between an 1/8 and a 1/4. And a piece like this, just switch it around. There we go. And this piece you can just set off to the side in case you need it. You might need it. Doubtful. You're just going to throw it into the pan as you go. And I'm just going to continue to slice these. Then I'm going to show you how to do the beets and the sweet potatoes. Okay, so I have my beetroots here, and I'm using yellow beets, and I happen to really like yellow beets. I'm just doing the same kind of thing. I'm cutting it about, trying to get about a 1/4 inch thick, if possible. And you can just look at this. I mean, I don't know if you can really tell, because I can't tell from my monitor what exactly the color is that you're seeing. But this is a gorgeous yellow color. I'm going to see if I can wrong. And we're just going to slice these, again, 1/4 inch thick or so. And you're going to be layering this, in your dish. So trying to get as even a size as possible is always helpful. If you have a mandolin, it might work better. Mandolins have kind of been banned in our household due to an unfortunate incident many years ago. So I'm just going to continue to do that slice down with this. I'm actually going to make myself a base to work from. It's always better when you have like a round object to make a base, especially with some of these harder vegetables where they can slip and slide. Ugh, this is gorgeous. I absolutely love the way these beets look. And I'm going to finish slicing these up, and then I'm going to go on to doing this exact same thing with our sweet potato and our black radish and our purple daikon. So I'll be back, show you what the next steps are in a flash. Alright, so in my little dish here I've got some balsamic vinegar and some avocado oil, and I'm just going to drizzle this over our beets here. I'm just going to kind of coat them. And since the beets are going to take the longest, they're going to go into the oven first. I'm going to just got a blast of, just put a little bit of salt on top. I don't know if our pepper grinder broke, so just going to omit that for the moment. But we're going to just do that. What we're going to do is I'm going to put it in a little baking dish right here. And we are going to make sure everybody got a little bit of something on there. Cover this in foil and start the cooking process. This is going to be in for probably close to an hour when it's all said and done. So we are going to pop it in right now while we get the other ingredients all set up for the next steps. So I'll be back. I'm going to cover this in foil, and then I will show you how to deal with the sweet potato and the celeriac and the radishes. Before I forget, the oven is set to 400 degrees, and we're going to cook these in 20-minute bursts. So I'm going to cook this for 20 minutes. I'm just going to check it to see where it is, but then I'm going to start putting in the other ingredients to cook alongside. So I shall be back, show you how to deal with the potatoes right now. As you can see, I'm cutting the potatoes in the same manner as I did the beets, about a 1/4 inch thick. Using a heavy duty knife works much better on the sweet potatoes because it's a much firmer veggie that you're dealing with. I still have the two others. I'm going to show you how to season up the celeriac level root, and then go to showing you what I'm doing with the sweet potato. Then I'll deal with the purple and black radish. So for the celeriac, I'm adding 5 cloves, 6 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to be sprinkling this with some dried thyme. Okay, I'm just going to give a healthy sprinkle of thyme. Kind of mix it up. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of mash up the garlic cloves once they cook. I'm going to add a little more thyme here. There we go. And we're going to put this into a pan once the timer goes off, which is probably about 15 minutes. And get that going. Now it's on to the sweet potatoes. Before I set these aside, I'm going to give them a good sprinkle of avocado oil because we want them to roast up nice and golden in the oven. Now, of course, you're going to put this into another small roasting pan as well. Maybe just a little bit more, like so. Beautiful. Now I'm going to do the same with our sweet potatoes. I'm going to add a little bit of oil just to coat them up. And then I'm going to add some, this is probably not the best container to use, but I'm going to add some smoked paprika to this. So we're going to get kind of like a different flavor profile, you know, throughout the bite. Okay, so let's get the smoked paprika going here. As you know, I like smoked paprika. We use it a lot. Just liberally sprinkle it on. And smoked paprika on potatoes is really excellent. Get these guys in here. Okay, so they're nicely coated. I'm just going to give them another little quick toss. Beautiful. And we're going to set these aside. These are going to go in the oven at the same time as our celeriac goes in. So now it's time to deal with this guy and this guy. So you can see our black radish is not very black anymore. And our purple daikon is rather purple. It's got this beautiful little burst of purple in the middle. We're just going to slice that up into 1/4-inch slices. And just look at this. I just want you to see. If you've never seen one of these guys, really absolutely gorgeous. Has a very nice radish flavor to it. Not spicy radish, but radish. Almost like a radish without the burn. So we're going to do that. Of course, we're going to treat this exactly the same way. We're going to treat the purple radish, because I mean basically that's what daikon is. It's a long radish. And the black radish together. We're going to just sprinkle that with a little bit of salt. And I think that's going to be it. Salt and some oil. Because I want to get kind of that flavor to come through. Okay, so we're just going to slice our black radish. And these are just really beautiful vegetables. If you don't have, let's just say this, if you don't have the black radish or the purple daikon, you don't have to add them as a layer. There's going to be plenty of vegetable left over. You could probably make 2 of these things, quite honestly. Or you could just throw it in together and make a vegetable pie. So that's our purple and black radish together. Looks really fantastic. Can't wait to see how this comes out. So I'm going to put that in a little dish, throw some salt and some oil on top of that, and we're just going to wait for our timer to go off so we can add these to the oven. So our timer just went off on the beets. So now I'm going to add our sweet potato and our celery root to the oven to cook in separate containers because we don't want the flavors to meld together. So I'll be back to deal with these. These are going to go in next. The last pan to go in the oven are radishes, and I'm just going to give them a little drizzle of oil. I'm going to sprinkle them with some dill. They definitely need more than that. Smells good. And some chives. There we go. So we might as well just finish off the chives. Get rid of them. It's one less bottle I have to deal with. So these are going to go in the oven. They should cook for about 20 to 25 minutes along with the rest of the items. And eventually we'll be ready to assemble. I'm going to show you how to make the pastry. Now again, you can make all these vegetables ahead of time so that way they can be cool and assemble it. You know, do the pastry the day of, throw in your cooked vegetables, and you're good to go. I'm not doing that. So while we're waiting for our the root vegetables to cook, I'm going to show you what we need to do for our chard here. We're using Swiss Chard. We're using the green. And basically what you want to do is you just want to basically cut out the stalk part. Set them aside, save them, because they can be useful. One of the things that we like to do is pickle them. You can make a really good quick pickle. Goes good on a sandwich. And again, I mean, you don't even really need a knife for this. You can just use your fingers just to peel it off like so. Set it aside. That's basically... Ooh, that was weird. A non-charred piece in my chard there. I don't know what that was. But again, while your veggies are cooking, you can do this. Doesn't take too long. Not particularly difficult. So I'm going to continue with this. I'm going to get this all set up to cook our chard, get that ready, and then I'm going to show you how to make the pastry and get that ready. The pastry, since we're using a pie mix, should be real easy. The hard part is going to be making sure I leave enough pie dough to make a top, because this is going to be a topped dish, because this is a showstopper, and you can't have a showstopper without a pie topper. I'll be back to show you the rest of this in a flash. Okay, so to make the pie crust, we are using Bob's Red Mill gluten-free pie crust. Now you see me make pie crust from scratch, but quite honestly, basically the same thing. I mean, you're doing the exact same thing. It's just flour, but this has already been pre-portioned. So I'm gonna do this in the food processor. We're just dumping the whole bag in, and to this we're going to be adding 12 tablespoons of vegan butter and 4 tablespoons of shortening. That would be, Alexa, turn off timer. That would be vegetable shortening. And we're going to have on the ready some ice cold water. So I'll be back to show you exactly what we do in a moment. Okay, so I'm about ready to add the butter to our food processor, and I'm using the Miyoko's cultured vegan butter. I like the product. I'm just going to slice this up into cubes. We need 12 tablespoons. Now it comes in a block. They don't do a particularly good job of wrapping it, so you kind of just have to eyeball it, basically. And you want it cold. Because this will definitely melt pretty quick. And now I'm going to get out 4 tablespoons of vegetable shortening. I'm going to add that to our bowl here as well. And basically we're just going to pulse this till it becomes kind of crummy, comes together a little bit. It's the cold water that's going to really make this come together. So I'll be back with the rest of this in a moment. Okay, so I'm adding 4 tablespoons of the shortening. And I put that in the fridge as well. That's 3. Come on. There we go. Perfect. So we got 4. Now it's time to pulse this up. And once again, the idea is to just get it to the point where when you start to add the water, it will become a nice flaky pie dough. You can see kind of the consistency. It's blended in. There are a little bit of chunks of butter still there. It's nice and cool. And now we're going to add 6 tablespoons of ice water to this. I got a cup filled with actual ice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now if for some reason the dough still hasn't quite come together, you can add an additional 2 to 3 tablespoons of water. Now, of course, Bob's recipe calls for butter, real butter, as opposed to vegan butter. So you may need to add just a little bit of water, but it's starting to come together because there's different moisture contents to. Oh yeah, this might need just another tablespoon in order to get it to the point where it needs to be. So, all right. Yep. Yeah, definitely needs just a little bit more water. I'm going to add another tablespoon to this, and then I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's done. And I'm going to prep our Springform pan. And while I do that, I'm also going to take care of our Swiss Chard while we're at it. The dough is ready, and I'm just going to cut it in half right now, like so.
You could weigh it.
I could weigh it, but my eyes are good.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually not gonna cut it in half because we're gonna need more for the Springform and less for the top. So how about that? So this is gonna be for the Springform. This is gonna be for the top of the Springform, and I'm sure we'll have some overhang. So we got to refrigerate this for an hour before we can roll it out. And while that's going, I'm going to cook up our chard. Spray my Springform pan with some cooking spray because I don't want this thing to stick, since this is a showstopper. The last thing you want is for the show to stop by having a dish that will not come out of the pan. So I'll just spread it around here, and we are just about ready to get our pie dough out and up and running. So I'm going to lay down some parchment paper. If I can open up the box. Parchment paper is a godsend, especially if you do a lot of baking, especially if you do gluten. If you do a lot of gluten-free baking, it's essential. you can't get away doing gluten-free baking without parchment paper. I just want to make sure, because we want this to come almost all the way up, if not all the way up. So our dough may go beyond our parchment paper, but that's all right. This is the type of dough you can just press right into the places. So if it cracks on the bottom, you can easily take a little piece, put it right in. What?
Draw a circle, the circumference of the thing.
Yeah. So that way I know.
Measure the side.
Yeah,
And then you'll have an accurate of how much dough you need. Yeah, I know.
I know that this is a little bit bigger than what we would normally use. This is a 9-inch pan, and this looks what, 2, 3 inches high. Anyway, you'll see. I'm guaranteeing you right now, I'm gonna mess up a little bit, and I'm gonna show you how to fix it. So stick around.
Listen to me.
Yeah, that's why I listen to her. She's the boss. I've been resting for a little less than an hour, but I can't wait, so I'm going to start rolling this out as best I can. Might still be a little bit too warm, but we're going to do our best here to make it work, people. Ooh. Almost broke something right there. Nothing to see here, folks. Actually, I need to put something underneath this so it doesn't shift around so much. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use a little, hopefully this will keep it from swaying about. If not, I'm just going to take our tray away. All right, there we go. Like I said, this is a really super forgiving dough, and the reason that you want to do this on the parchment paper is that, as you can see, it will kind of crumble up and break a bit. So you want to get it about a 1/4 inch thick. All right, stick those pieces over here. Just gonna give this a turn. Gonna need a bigger rolling pin for this. This is what happens when you use an outsized dish to make your showstopper. But anyway, I'm going to give this an eyeball, see where we're at. As long as it fits, we got a little bit more to go. Just down at the bottom here, a little bit on the top. And what I'm going to do, this is going to guarantee to kind of break, but we'll see. We'll see if I can, because I don't think this is going to roll. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, that's exactly what I was afraid of happening. Is that, which just happened. I told you this was guaranteed to get messed up. And these are the perils of working with gluten-free dough.
Oh my god.
Okay, so I got my pie dough into my Springform here. it was quite a struggle. I'm going to give you a quick pro tip, which Doris relayed to me that she picked up from Paul Hollywood on the Great British Baking Show, which is to roll the dough out between two pieces of parchment paper. This dough, we use the Bob's Red Mill pie crust. Normally I make it from scratch, and quite honestly, we were trying to save some time here, and it was not a time saver. Let's put it that way. Did not work out too well for us. That could just be because this application is not the best application for this particular mix. But anyway, it's time to start layering our stuff. So right now I have some raw Swiss chard that we obviously had cleaned up, and now we're just going to do a layer of Swiss chard down. Let me get that little stray there. And we're going to start layering our vegetables piece by piece. And we're just going to try to build this whole thing up here. You want to get it down to the bottom, press it down, as it were. You might get a little piece right in there. Okay. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do, don't want that little straggler, it's being recalcitrant there, is to basically put a little bit of gluten-free flour down, because if you're using red beets, they'll bleed, and you don't want it to bleed and basically infuse the entire dish with red color. I'm using yellow beets, but I'm still going to sprinkle some gluten-free flour over this. If you're not gluten-free and you have access to semolina flour, use that. So now I'm going to get out our beet layer, and what we're just going to do is alternate between the vegetable layers. So I'll be back with our veggies and we'll start stacking. Okay, so here come the beets. Just kind of want to overlap them just a little bit. You don't want them too far overlapped, because what will happen is when you try and cut, you're going to kind of mess it up a bit. We don't want that to happen. Alright, let's see, we can go that right there. Piece right here. And if you have extra, don't worry, you can always make a salad. Alright, let's see if I can get a little piece right here. Okay, so now we're going to layer it with another layer of chard leaves. And let's find a prettier one. All right, there we go. Okay. And let's see, what next layer should we do? All right, we'll do the celeriac. We're just going to go around the edge. I'll show you what this looks like when I'm done. So the celeriac root is now down. It's time, and I'm just going to give this a good press down as well. You don't want any air pockets to form. Even Tank's in agreement. No air pockets, please. Alright, so I'm going to do another layer of Swiss chard here. Beautiful. Alright, so the next layer we're going to do, since we got yellow, we got white, now we're going to do our purple daikon. Actually, you know what? I'm going to alternate the pieces here. So we got our black radish and our purple daikon. That's going to be a layer. Okay. And you kind of have to account for some shrinkage of the veggies as you're layering them. Alright, let me just get another. Huh. Okay. Don't actually have enough black radish, so I'm just going to keep layering this with the purple daikon, and we'll finish it off. And I'll show you what it looks like. I'm just going to put a little black pepper on here. Smells good. Give it a little sprinkle of salt. I think I'm going to squeeze in just a little bit of the sweet potato. I cooked it, might as well add it. And then we'll top it with the chard. Yeah, I think we got enough. We got enough space here. Not quite going exactly according to plan, but you know what? Flexibility, today's day and age, is the key to survival. So, I'm just going to keep going around the edge here. I will show you what it looks like. And then we have to roll out our top and put our pastry top on there. So, trying to get some of the thinner pieces. Alright, now we just have to put our last piece of chard on there. Get that going. And we're going to roll out our dough for our topper. I might have to smush it on. So don't be surprised if it doesn't look quite as good as you would hope. But, you know, that's the way it goes sometimes. When you cut into this and people see the inside, they're just going to go, my God, how did you do that? And you can just tell them, family secret, family secret. Don't give away your secrets. That's my rule. Don't give away your secrets. Just pass them down to your kids. That's it. Friends want to know, tell them to come into the kitchen and help you cook. That's how your friends get your secret, your cooking secrets. Okay, perfect. So got everything covered here. Now I'm just going to do the lid, and then we're going to pop this sucker in the oven. I will show you what it looks like with the lid on momentarily. Okay, so our dough topper is on. It's ready to go in the oven. We are going to be baking this for, I'm going to say, 45 minutes or so. 45 minutes. The pastry should be golden brown. If you want to brush this with a little bit of almond milk, that'll help brown it a little bit more. That is probably ideal. So once it's baked for 45 minutes, you're going to want to let it sit for 15 before you actually pop this off and cut it. The other thing is that you could serve this cold. It'll be just as good. So I'm going to put this in the oven. The oven's set at, let me see, So the oven's set at 350. I'm going to pop this in right now. I will show you what it looks like when it's done. Quick thing before I put it in, you want to make a little hole for the steam to pop out. Otherwise, this could get messy. So, got my little steam hole right here. We should be good to go. I'll be back in a flash. Okay, so I just took this out of the oven. It's piping hot. I could see that it's starting to pull away from the edges, which is a good sign. I actually cooked this for an extra 10 minutes. I just didn't feel like the top was cooking quite enough the way I liked it, but it could just be that I didn't pack it just quite right. Also, the oven might have been set at the not quite the right temperature. So, I'm going to let this sit for 10 minutes. Then we're going to do the removal of the Springform, and then the big inside reveal. Okay, folks, now it's time to see if our vegetable pie will come out of the Springform. And lo and behold, we have a beautiful looking vegetable pie. Quite honestly, I'm a bit shocked. It's still really hot, but I think I'm going to cut it and see what we got. What do you guys think? Should I cut it? Yes? No? I'm not getting much feedback here. Nope, I'm not going to wait. I'm going to cut it. Okay, so here it is. It's our vegan pie. I'm going to turn this sideways so you can get a look. All the different layers of veggies in there. It looks amazing. We're going to dig in and taste it. So, if you like these videos, please quick subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a comment, give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And that's pretty much it. Stay healthy, stay happy, and be well.